Hey everyone, I'm not sure if this is going to record, but I'm waiting for Archer to show up here at the church parking lot, Munger, whatever, church. Um, anyway, I think the idea is, it's October 14th right now, 2020, and 10:15 20 is tomorrow, but in Israel it's already the next day. Once the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament, ratifies the first country into the Abraham Accords, Iran, in its moment of weakness, because it just got slapped in the face from a theological standpoint, is going to, well, they're going to be waiting until it's ratified, but as soon as the first one, UAE ratifies, the only one that's going tomorrow, but the first of many, as Iran counts down to that ratification, then they're left with no choice. Once that clock runs out, as they wait desperately for their Mahdi to show up, Mahdi's nowhere to be found. So then they have to attack immediately because their belief says that they're going to trigger him. I mean, it's the core of the government that he'll appear. The leadership believe it, and what else? And they're gonna, their moment of weakness, from sanctions from the U.S. and coronavirus, they need to shut down the country with over 4,000 deaths in a day, but they can't financially afford it. Israel shut down too. What's going to happen is, or what would be great is if Mahdi actually showed up right now, but he's not. So when Iran attacks Israel tomorrow, we're going to have a little bit of a lag, and it's going to be a noisier climate, in order to, I really hope he shows up. It's going to be a noisier climate geopolitically because, even though no one's expecting this now, that's all everyone's going to talk about tomorrow. Hopefully I made a big enough impression on the group, on the email, that when everyone gets spooked tomorrow, we understand what we're going to do, and the contacts are strong enough to say, hey, we've got the solution. And what the solution is to normalize relations between Israel and Iran, not in time, but we just announced the normalization because we expected this to come. It was announced by Israel that it was going to come. No one listened. Mahdi didn't appear because he knows better than to pick a fight that he can't win. Israel gets hit, corrected in measure, which fulfills a verse. I don't know, from the Old Testament, I guess. I'm not sure when or where, but I'm going to look that up. So we announced the normalization, and then we also announced a new 501c3 or equivalent that's global. And what it is, it's broken up into different divisions, co-founded by Mahdi and myself, and then anyone who, outside of the email group, anyone new to come work at the 501c3 isn't really working. They're just making sure that they're staying in heaven. Because the only way to become part of the 501c3 is to show up after your entrance into heaven with a story in the form of a book, and then also a movie. Movie goes first, then the story comes later. Sorry, the book comes later. But anyway, in the process of making that film, that's when it'll happen. You'll enter heaven, and the idea, the job in heaven is to maintain heaven, to stay there, to not have a fall, like the original sin thing again. But everyone else, the company's in heaven too, so it's a matter of keeping people there. So I said 8 o'clock. I don't know if this is 4 minutes long, so maybe it's 4 minutes after 8. But I am here. This has been recorded. I don't know if I'm going to get this uploaded because I'm sleeping on the street again tonight. We got a nice park bench, actually, earlier today. And then a balcony at an old bar I used to go to, which is now closed due to COVID, but we got that as well. What else? My aunt, she came through because I didn't have any money. I had 65 cents when I left last night, and all my stuff was thrown into the near the dumpster I didn't have money to get an Uber. I couldn't, carry all that stuff, which is actually solved for me because, there's that verse about giving away, selling everything, giving to the poor, and then, following me is what Jesus is saying, to follow me. So that's kind of what I did, but I still had all these clothes from earlier, not a lot, but just whatever I got from my mom's house. So all that was taken and set next to a dumpster, which I'm sure I already noticed that when I saw it last night trying to retrieve a zip drive for a hedge fund I used to own, when that bag was gone, and some other stuff too. So hopefully it's all gone as of today. So I have no possessions other than this bag, its contents, and a sweatshirt. But I will say, as it goes, it's going to be 69 degrees as a low tonight, which is optimal for sleeping outside. And then tomorrow morning, when I wake up, well, I'll probably wake up earlier than I normally would, because I'm going to be sleeping outside. But by the time, let's say I wake up at 6 a.m. or whatever, or 5 a.m., you tack on 8 hours and you're looking at, 5 and 8 is 1 p.m. So anyway, yeah, that's what I got. It'll be well into the Knesset meeting tomorrow. It's supposed to be, that's the other thing. It's an Abraham Accord, but there's a military component to this peace deal that conceals the whole deal isn't transparent. You can't see it tomorrow when you vote on it. Not that you get to vote on it, but even the parliament, they can't see the whole deal because of security issues, because of weaponry that's listed there. So that is the screamingly opposite approach as compared to the God of Abraham that Christians, Muslims, and Jews know in their hearts. So it must be a false deal. And it all points to Proverbs 25, which has one phrase of 3 letters, come up hither, which is only located in the, it's located in maybe 6 different versions of 30 I checked, but the rest of the versions are like come up here or whatever. Well, come up hither is only in 6, and it's in the King James and derivatives of the King James, mainly. And it's in Revelation twice, once when Jesus says it, once where a great voice in heaven says it, that's when I typed it, and then 155 minutes later, Babe Ruth fell. It's a 3rd time in Proverbs where it basically sketches out how to handle the great and dreadful day of the Lord, which I don't know how dreadful it's going to be. That's based off us, which, looking at it now, seeing that the Mahdi isn't here, the Shah of Iran, that means that we're going to have some event happen tomorrow instead. So that's what I got. I think about these things. God, I love you. We're going to see what happens.